What sort of tactical battle are you expecting, especially now Liam has brought in Adam Booth into his camp, so that could change things slightly?
What they can try to do is they can try to add a game plan, but a Ford engine is a Ford engine. A Maserati engine is a Maserati engine. I don't care how much you put around that Ford engine, it ain't gonna make it out run that Maserati.
Hello and welcome to part 2 of this Boxing Insider special, joined by the legendary Roy Jones Jr. here at the gym in Hove. Roy, let's take it back to the start, your relationship with Chris Eubank Jr. How did it all come about?
I just went and I met him at a fight with Kevin Newman, another guy that I was working with a little bit. And I think he understood the way that I was working with him, and he didn't know I was a trainer. So when he realized that I was a trainer, he was like, hey, would you be interested in working with me? I said, sure. So I thought he was going, his father phoned me, and I thought he was going to come back over here first because he was in Vegas when I met him. So I thought he would come back to the UK first, him and his father would talk, and then he would come back. So he rings me one day and says, okay, I'm here. I said, you in the UK? He says, no, I'm in Pensacola. And it was at the beginning of COVID, of the COVID lockdown. So the whole 2019 to 2020, he was back and forth with me like 6 weeks at a time. So he did pretty much a year to a year and a half with me. And it was just, you rarely find guys that can actually cultivate what you try to give them. They can capture it, but they can't cultivate it into reality. Chris can cultivate everything I tell him into reality. And that was a really good sight to sore eyes.
What developments have you seen of him in that time, both as a boxer but as a man as well?
Well, I've seen him become a little bit more calmer. He thinks more before he reacts, I think. And he's just, he's starting to open up a little bit more. He talks more. And, just his whole transition, he seems like a guy who moves with a purpose. You understand me? So he has a lot of different values, but I think he values the right things most. He understands where he is in his career. He understands that to get to where he wants to go, he needed to get a little bit better. So he brought me in to help him, to assist him at trying to get better. The biggest thing about him, though, is that when I teach him something, I can be gone a day, I can be gone a week, I can be gone a month, I can be gone 6 months. When I get back, he still has what I've taught him in tow, and he's still getting better at it all the time. So that's a person that's showing me that he really is into getting better. And that says a lot for a guy who's already accomplished as much as he's accomplished, but still being willing and humble enough to learn. Because willing and humble was the last two things I heard about him from the outside.
The thing is, with the pair of you, it's a unique relationship. It's not a normal trainer-boxer relationship. You've described it to me before, big brother, little brother, and you've been living with him in recent times. So what's that been like?
It's been fun, man. It's like we get to talk boxing anytime it comes to my mind. He tells people that I'm a genius. I don't like to say that myself, but my dad did teach me a lot, and I learned a lot from the things that God gave me outside of my dad too. So things always come to my mind. And the best part about having me in his house is that when it comes to mine, I give it right to him.
And when it comes to your own growth as a trainer, because you've achieved everything there is possible to achieve as a boxer, how did you find that development as a coach? Because often the very best boxers, the very best sportsmen aren't the best coaches.
Yeah, well, the first thing you have to realize is that it's not you, it's them. And so for me, the one thing that I understood better than anything was that God blessed us all with different DNA. If you can figure out what the DNA is, then you can figure out how to take that DNA to its full potential. If you can't figure out what the DNA is, then you're gonna have a hard time. So what I did was I started to back up and analyze guys. And what made it easier for me too was I had several guys that I trained when I was fighting. Derek Smoke Gaynor, Lemuel Nelson, Billy the Kid Lewis, Ezra Sellers, David Azarante, the list, Keon Bussey, the list went on. So it was a lot of guys that actually when I was in my prime, I was semi-training them too, because when I would see them do things that were wrong, I would correct them and show them how to correct it. So I became very articulate at demonstrating or showing them exactly what I want to see. And it's so much better when a guy can demonstrate it than it is when a guy can just tell it to you. Because I can tell you how Rome looks, but if I can take you a picture and give you a demonstration of how Rome looks, you get a better understanding.
Why have you decided to get so emotionally involved in this challenge of taking on Chris Eubank Jr.? Because without trying to embarrass you, there's so many things you could be doing right now rather than sitting with me in Hove previewing a fight against Liam Williams for Chris.
2 reasons. A, I love boxing, and I feel like God blessed me with so much that it's my duty to try to pass on what God gave me. That's number 1. Number 2, God changes a lot of things in our lives. And so to come from, and you gotta look at this picture, possibly fighting one day Chris Eubank Sr., to that never happening, but now you training Chris Eubank Jr., almost makes you understand where God was taking you from the get-go. He didn't let you fight Chris Eubank Sr. because there could have possibly been bad blood and you wouldn't have anything to do with Junior. But because Junior's at a point where he needs me and we can help one another, because it just boosts my confidence to see guys pick up what I teach. That just gives me more motivation to keep teaching. So we are good for one another because I love to teach and he loves to learn. So those 3 things I think are really what cultivated me or captivated my attention enough to make me want to come here and spend time with him.
What sort of input does Chris Sr. have now, or does he just leave you to it when it comes to inside the ring?
To be honest, we talk outside of the ring, me and him, he and I. We had a conversation this morning, and we were saying the same thing. We were just saying it in 2 different terms. And once we broke it down, we both agreed that we were saying the same thing. You understand? So he often gives me credit for things and improvements that he sees in Chris that I've gotten Chris to understand. And I like the fact that he speaks his mind, because if I'm training your son and I respect you as a legend, then I want to know that you getting what you expected out of me through your son. You understand me? I don't want you to say, well, you trained him, but you didn't teach me nothing that I expected you to teach him. I want you to tell me that I can see what you're doing, I can see the improvement that you're making. And that's what he told me this morning. So I love to hear that, because that means me and Chris Jr. are doing something right.
Break down this fight for me between Chris Eubank Jr. and Liam Williams. What do you think happens? There's a lot of emotion there. What sort of a role do you think that will play in the fight?
For me, you know, it's very detrimental to me as a trainer that I don't get into the emotional politics, because my job is to serve my athlete to the best of my ability. If I get caught up in the emotional part, then I'm going to be just like everybody else. I'm going to be emotionally too entangled to really understand what's going on. So it's my duty to never get mentally caught up in the emotional turmoil. They have to, because guess what? When the bell rings, I'm not fighting him. I'm not fighting his corner. I'm not fighting none of them. We are fighting as a team, but Chris and he have to face each other face to face, man to man. That's the difference. So in my lifetime, I don't say much to people, because if you and I are not going to have a man-to-man altercation, well, what am I talking about? It has nothing to do with me. I mean, yeah, it does indirectly, which I'm cool, but I say it to my guy. You know, I won't say that to nobody else, because it's not their business what I think. It's about what he thinks. He's the one who's going to be on television. He's the one they're paying to see under the lights. He's the one who has to perform. My time has come and gone as far as that goes. I don't need that anymore. It's his turn. So my goal is to support him in every way.
What sort of tactical battle are you expecting, especially now Liam has brought in Adam Booth into his camp, so that could change things slightly?
No, that doesn't change things. You understand me? I'm Roy Jones Jr. I've had 3, 4, maybe 5 different trainers. Nothing changed who I am. You are who you are. I don't care who changed. Now, what they can try to do is they can try to add a game plan, but a Ford engine is a Ford engine. A Maserati engine is a Maserati engine. I don't care how much you put around that Ford engine, it ain't gonna make it out run that Maserati. Because they're different engines. Not saying nothing bad about nobody. That doesn't mean no disrespect to nobody. I'm just saying that to me, I just feel like Chris is the far superior athlete, the far superior boxer. Liam has all the right in the world to come prove that wrong if he can. I mean, I don't think, but I don't know that because I'm not God. So it's my job to prepare my Maserati the best I can. And in case they went and did an engine transplant and got a Maserati engine instead of the Ford engine, I'm gonna treat it like they got a Maserati engine, but in my mind, from the past and from what this guy's seen and what this guy's done and what this guy's seen and what this guy's done, to me, there's really no comparison. Now, everybody has a puncher's chance. And I do give Liam a puncher's chance because Liam can really punch. And Liam, like I said, he's not a bad fighter at all. I'm not saying that. I'm not taking nothing away from him. It's just that I feel like they're on two separate levels.
How confident are you that they show that Chris Eubank Jr. shows that against Liam Williams, that they are on different levels and he does get it done in convincing style and he sets himself up for a huge fight in the summer? To
continue forward, Chris, he has to go out and show that. If he doesn't show that he and Liam Williams are on separate levels, if he doesn't show that, who wants to fight him in the future for a title? Who even believes that he wants a title? But if he goes out and shows that level of difference, now they say, okay, now we understand why he's ready to fight for a title. He's here, and these guys are here. And that's what we've been seeing, and I'm thinking we're going to see the same thing again. How? I don't know, because like I said, don't get it twisted. Liam is not a bad fighter at all. Liam can fight, and Liam can punch. So Liam is not going to lay down for nobody. He's a real warrior, and he's going to come out and go to war. It's just that I think, like I said, I know there are levels to this game, and I just think there are different levels.
We'll all be heading to Wales in the next few days. You might bump into your old mate, Joe Calzaghe.
Yeah, I might.
An exhibition in the offing? Do you think you'll be back in the ring soon?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. You never see him sweating out, right? I stay ready just in case.
Because Mike Tyson said the other day, I think that might be him done when it comes to exhibitions.
Well, he's older than me. He's a year older than me, maybe 2 years older than me. So 3 years older than me. I was 51, he was 54. Yeah, he's 3 years older than me. So, I mean, I'm not really trying to do a whole lot, but because of my entertainment factor, when I was in my prime, I wasn't only a dominant force, I was an entertaining dominant force. And people find that hard to forget. And the old people that knew me, that watched and witnessed my career, are still looking for a dominant, entertaining force, not just a dominant force. So like there are a lot of people who have been dominant forces. Floyd Mayweather was a dominant force, but the entertainment factor that I presented is unmatched, hasn't been matched yet. So we always want to see when Roy comes in the ring because of the entertainment factor. Win, lose, or draw, we know it's going to be good and it's going to be an entertaining factor. Anytime you pay for a Roy Jones event, you're paying for entertainment.
And have you still got a passion to entertain?
That's all I know. That'll be in my life, in my blood to the day I die. That's all I know.
Whilst I've got you, I need to ask you about the heavyweight scene or the saga that is dominating at the top of the division. What have you made it all? It does look like it now will be Tyson Fury against Dillian Whyte, and AJ will have this rematch with Usyk.
Well, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, I don't know everything. I just give my opinion of it. And everybody has their own opinions. I don't necessarily want to see Usyk Fury yet. I want to see Usyk AJ again, and I want to see Fury Dillian Whyte, because boxer versus puncher, boxer versus puncher. Two great potential fights. This fight was a beautiful fight the first time. It'll be a beautiful fight the second time. This fight is going to be beautiful because one guy is a superb thinker boxer, one guy's a superb puncher. Those always make for the best fights, unless you got two dominant punchers. So the only real dominant punching fight you can find is if you put a Dillian Whyte versus a Deontay Wilder. You know that fight don't go past 6 rounds because both of them are dominant punchers. Whoever hits who first, the other's probably gone. But when you put a Fury in there, now you make the whole game different. Now you muddy the water a little bit. Can he even hit Fury? And what does Fury do in the meanwhile while he's boxing Dillian Whyte, keeping him from hitting him? Same with Usyk and Joshua. Can Joshua find Usyk, or can Usyk remain to be elusive while he's finding Joshua? So those are the better fights, and those are the fights I'd rather see than to just put Usyk and Fury on right now, because the heavyweight division has been so entertaining lately. Let's keep it entertaining. If we get two boxers who go 12 rounds of a chess match that the bigger guy probably ekes out, that's no fun for us. That's no fun for boxing. We don't want to see that. We want to see somebody get KO'd. Like, for instance, King Kong and the guy fought last time. King Kong goes down, King Kong gets up, King Kong puts him down, King Kong ends up stopping him. That's what we want to see in the heavyweight division. We don't want to see 12-round boxing matches. That's not what the heavyweight division is for.
Are you pleased, therefore, that AJ has decided to, I guess, control the animal inside him, the fighter, and he's decided, I'm going to take on that rematch. I'm not going to take any step-aside money. I want to get back in the ring. I want to prove everybody wrong. I want to prove to everybody that I can beat Usyk.
Yeah, I mean, that's a beautiful thing. That's what a real fighter's supposed to do. That's what I would have expected from him. I wouldn't expect him to take no step-aside money. If I take step-aside money, that means I believe I can't beat him. No, I don't want that. Give me him back right now while it's still fresh on my mind. So, no, I mean, I totally understand. And I think that was the right thing for Joshua to do.
Roy, it's been an absolute pleasure speaking to you. Thanks so much for your time.
All right.